Well, good morning. And we're all over the place this morning because suddenly the internet has decided to play up. Computers, the savior of mankind. BS. Sorry, BS. All over. Well, good morning again. What a day to start. Is everything was to go. All I had to do was push a button. I pushed the button and nothing happened. And for some reason, there was a little blur in the internet. So I was all ready to talk about the papers. Where were the papers? Nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen at all. I've got them back now, I think. But let's first of all take a look at. Never mind the weather, as long as we're together. Now, with any luck whatsoever, we're going to we're going to find what we're looking for, and be able to bring you all the stuff that you expect and we thought we were going to in the first place. And so we're fighting around a bit this morning. Sorry about that. No, nothing is working. Nothing is working today. Yes, it is. Got it, he said. Got it. Haven't got it. Never mind the weather as long as we're together. Can't even bring you that for the moment. So we'll go to the papers in the hope that they are there. That we have got some sort of semblance of order now back into our lives, and that we can actually oh, let's go to the bloody newspapers. And the first one up is the Times, and a Corbyn ally has sparked newspaper headlines: Labour racism row and Britain's rescued from Sudan. At the Times, a Corbyn ally sparks a new Labour row over racism. Well, guess who's in the middle of it? Guess who is in the middle of it? Of course, you don't have too many guesses. There she is, Diane Abbott, and And broadly, a number of Monday's papers lead with Diane Abbott being suspended pending an investigation into a letter she wrote to the Observer about racism. The Times says her future in the Labour Party is in doubt yet again after she was disciplined for claiming that Jewish, Irish, and traveller people suffer prejudice but not racism. Well, I'll be damned if I know the difference. So it's, as far as I can say, it's another one where they're looking up their own backsides and getting on with all the things that are important to them, except what is important to the people. A curse on all their houses. Get rid of them. Get rid of the lot of them. This is absolute rubbish and nonsense. I can't get excited about any of that. The Daily Express, much better. Much better. It is. It says. There we go. Right. A daring SAS mission plucks Britons to safety. There we go. And what's that story? Well, there's been trouble in Sudan. And actually, it's one of the places I've never been, but I almost went in about, I think it was about 2013, 2014. I almost went there. And then they, because of the threat to life and limb, as if I hadn't been through that many a time, is the thing was cancelled, which was rather a pity. But that headline is a rescue mission to evacuate British diplomats and their families from war-torn Sudan. The Daily Express says British citizens who remain trapped amid the escalating violence have pleaded for the government not to abandon them. That the SAS went on a daring mission and got some people out to begin with. And basically, probably one of the most unstable of the African countries, the Sudan, Khartoum, General Gordon, right? Retreat, murder, you name it. The Mahdi took on Gordon and actually won. But they have a bunch of various paramilitary organizations, all of whom think that they could rule the country. And they're fighting one another to prove it. As a consequence, making it ungovernable. There you go. That's the sort of logic that comes into these sort of things. But anyway, it gave the opportunity, and I shouldn't put it this way, but nonetheless, it is the opportunity for the SAS to show their stuff and go in and effect a daring rescue. I came across the SAS in Northern Ireland. As much as anyone comes across the SAS, very secretive, very good at hiding what they're doing. And they really are impressive. You don't want to get on the wrong side of them, I'll tell you. The Daily Telegraph, UK citizens abandoned amid feeble response to the Sudan crisis. So there you are. What you've got is you've got two sides of the coin. One, the daring SAS rescue, and the other is the Telegraph says that the Foreign Office has been accused of abandoning British citizens in Sudan after failing to learn from the disastrous evacuation from Kabul. The paper says there are concerns in the cabinet about how the crisis has been handled after it emerged senior embassy officials were not in Sudan when the fighting broke out. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I expect they were working from home. Yes. Oh, our government is in just such a mess. And don't start on with the dreadful Tories and the wonderful Labour. A curse on all their houses. What we've got is we've got lightweights in both camps. They're all mouth and no trousers. And we need a bit of trouser. That's what we need, a bit of trouser in government. Goodness gracious me. Right, the Metro, escape from Khartoum. Right, there we go. The Metro reports that British diplomats and their families have been flown out of Sudan after a daring nighttime dash with special forces to a secret airfield. The paper says hundreds of Brits fear they are trapped, and that Foreign Secretary James Cleverly said help is severely limited. So you don't know what to believe, right? We British diplomats and their families have been flown out of Sudan, a daring mission by the SAS, but there are lots left. And basically what the government is, what the Foreign Office is saying is his hands are tied. He can't help anymore. Give me strength. He's probably going down to the Cabinet Office to start talking about whether it's racist because tiddlywinks are coloured. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What a mess we're in. What a mess we're in. Right. It's a little cool outside, by the way. It's a little cool outside. And one of the things that you've been used to is quite high temperatures, but it's settled back to something like 12 or 13. And right now it's only 7 degrees and mostly sunny. Yes, the courthouse is bathed in sunshine. The FT says Rishi Sunak will hold the first of a series of summits with corporate leaders today as the Tories seek to repair the damage done by the Brexit years and fend off Labour's attempts to become the party of business. The paper says the debut of the Business Connect forum, which will bring together 200 senior business figures in London, takes an extra urgency as the CBI teeters on the brink of collapse. Confederation of British Industry, which has been the powerhouse for representing business interests with the government. It's a very good lobbying thing. It turns out that half the executives were having it away with the secretaries who weren't that keen on it. So it's full of scandal there. And it looks as if the authority of the organization is disappearing. And with it, of course, its effectiveness. So there we go. As the sex raises rears its ugly head again. Ugly? Oh, what the hell? Decides where you stand, I guess. The Mirror. Rod, give nurses a rise now. Well. Rod Stewart gets into the act, right? He's... it's just amazing how celebrities and we, the media, if we want to be collective, are just as silly about the whole thing, is because we pay attention to them. Here is Rod Stewart. Give nurses a rise now. And even an ex-Tory MP becomes Burkhoff. That speaker of controversial fame backs NHS heroes and teachers. Yes, and you backed all the money that went to 80% payment and all the nice largesse things on the basis that everything in the garden was going to be wonderful, and all you have to do is to just collect a little more tax, and the finances will be right back. Well, life does not hand out tarred hands like that. Life isn't like that. You never know what's around the next corner. So what happens is that Rod is saying, oh, well, yeah, you've got to pay more. But none of these people, and the celebrities particularly, ever suggests where the hell the money is going to come from. And you know what the last resort is, don't you? Well, cling onto your pockets, as if they haven't been picked enough. We could close the subsidised bars for a start and restaurants. We could severely cut MPs' expenses. We could take back from them the £13,000 they got as an extra for COVID. We could do all those things. Oh, do not suggest such things, Keith. Do not suggest such things. Goodness gracious me, our hard-working MPs need the extra money for all the extra work they do. Well, I'll be damned if I can see. I haven't ever met our local MP. I have not met her. I've had a couple of exchanges on the internet or emails with her, mostly unsatisfactory. And yet, she's very hardworking and needs all this extra money. Well, Rod, why don't you go to your mates at the top of the tree and say, come on, chaps, let's clear out our pockets and then let's go to the British public to see whether we can get extra money for the nurses. I'm sorry, you nurses, I'm not saying that you don't deserve it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I haven't really been able to match your claim against anybody else's. I'm not having a go at you. What I'm having a go at is the way that people blithely just decide that they will apportion the blame. And give extra money. Very naughty governments not to. Yeah. We've heard it all. Right. Right. Now, here's another go at where money comes from and where it doesn't. Is the Mail. Time to scrap the tourist tax and get Britain booming again. It says a coalition of business leaders has called for the return of tax-free shopping for overseas tourists. In a letter to the Chancellor, scores of retail, hospitality and tourism bosses warn that removing the VAT refund for visitors has been an extraordinary own goal. Yeah, I think for the amount of extra tax it brings in and for the amount of money that we're losing now because people don't have that benefit, they don't want to pay British tax on something they're going to take home. Is the effigy of Big Ben, which stays on the mantelpiece, should be the cost, the retail cost, not a hidden tax to go to the government. And so that idea, suggestion seems to have some merit to me. Tourists shouldn't pay our tax. Doesn't matter what anybody else does abroad. The tourists should not pay tax. Now, the Star. I just love the Star. 4 hot spells. Coronation heat, it says. 26 centigrade record temperatures. Swelter to be real belter. Aha! It's got a picture of Prince Charles with his handkerchief on his head to stop his head getting scorched. The Star says that the King's coronation will see a burst of hot spells, and Britons will enjoy 4 heat waves and 26-degree Celsius weather in May. So get out your bikini, chaps. Yeah, and ladies, you get out something too, equally as revealing, because you're going to be able to toast yourself, toast your toes. We're going to get heat. How wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Aha, yeah. Well, that's the main thrust of the papers. But just one thing that came up in local news, if there wasn't a lot that would shock the world, I can assure you, is the news that 800 Wetherspoon pubs are to stay open late for the King's coronation. So if you're a tippler and you don't like being turfed out on Coronation Day, which is a Saturday, presumably the bank holiday, which we get on the Monday, is in addition, is if the Wetherspoon pubs are going to stay open on that night too, you've got a feast of drinking in the pubs over the coronation weekend. Oh yes, you have. You have. Have we got have we got another? I don't know why I always lose this damn weather. I have no idea why. It just disappears. It just absolutely disappears, and I don't understand why half the time. Is we don't seem to have it there. So forgive me. I'll just have to tell you that the weather forecast is. Let me read it to you, shall I? I'm leaving the Weatherspoon pubs thing up there. Such good news, isn't it? The pubs are going to stay open late. Here we go. Is today. It's going to be relatively mild. We've had a nice warm spell this last couple of weeks. It's been nudging sort of 13 and 14, even hit 15 one day, I think. And despite the fact that it was said that it's going to be a warm week, it's starting off a bit cooler today, 11 degrees, and a low of 3. And it's taking time to warm up because it's 7 degrees now. Mostly sunny, but 7 degrees, and it's been 7 degrees for the past hour. So it's not escalating heavily. Is about 1 o'clock this afternoon. It is going to be the high of the day, when it to be 11. There will be light rain showers throughout the day, so don't go without a light Mac, and light winds as well. So I always am worried about my hat when we have any sort of wind at all. So there we go. That's where it all stands. And I'm sorry that we were late on the air this morning, but it was really, on a hand on heart, it wasn't me this morning. It wasn't old Fumblebum. It wasn't the spirit of Jack DeManio. It really was the internet playing up. And it's a bit naughty. That's a bit naughty indeed. There we go. These things are sent to try us. And in the meantime, I keep on reading from those people who are so devoted to computers they can't see the wood for the trees. It's all much better, and it's all much easier for us now. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Goodness gracious me. By the way, we're broadcasting from the White Hart in Lewis, and I have to say that this morning, the wonderful Jane is back. She's had 2 weeks holiday. Upon close questioning, she spent most of it in the garden. She is growing some broad beans for me, and she says that they're doing very nicely. Thank you very much. The broad beans are on the way to becoming a bumper crop, and I shall be armpit deep in broad beans. Jane is more or less in charge of the White Hart, and a fine inn she runs as well. But she is so kind and looks after me. I really couldn't fault anybody. So that's what it's all about. It's Mirador Television, the White Hart Hotel, a very, very historic hotel where Tom Paine allegedly formulated, if not wrote, the rights of man before he went off and fermented a little bit of angst amongst the colonists, which resulted in them saying to the government of the day, George IV, bugger off. And we did. And it all started here. Look at those rafters over my head. They were once over the head of Tom Paine as he scribbled away. He was a bit of a drinker, so we know that he was in the bar. That's it for the moment. We are going to be back in half an hour. This morning we shall. There's the Weatherspoon pub again. That's because 800 of them are going to stay. They're going to stay open for the coronation. You can get some extra drink down you. Goodness gracious me! You know, I'm not advocating us all getting alcohol silly, but just on the special occasions, it is nice to be able to let go and know that your hangover isn't going to prevent you from going to work the next day. It's just going to prevent you. All right, it's 8:59. Time to say toodle pip for half an hour. Then we'll be back with a little bit of history, and hopefully we will have Suzanne Musho from the United States, delightful Suzanne, and see what's going on over there. Right, ja. Shall we say toodle pip for the moment? Yes, we shall. We shall say toodle pip for the moment, and then we'll see you in half an hour.